you know, there's a layer of your consciousness that is always having control over you, and you're not always aware of that. As you're breathing without you being aware of it, or your heartbeats, it's all happening automatically, and it's about to tune into that part of yourself that is doing all of that for you anytime. So, and it's about to choose, right? For you to choose, who do you want to be? This is what I can tell you. Who do you want to be? Right? And take that question with you. Take that question with you. Who do you want to be? If you could be anyone, right? And you can take small steps towards that goal, towards who you want to be, you can actually, you know, really, really be happy, fulfilled, all of the good stuff, be successful, heal. And let's close your eyes. Put your hand on the chest and breathe. Be aware of your breath right now. Is it deep and slow? Or is it shallow? Do you hold your breath? Or are you breathing just fine? And take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth fully. Take another deep inhale through the nose. Exhale and choose. Choose now what's best for you. Imagine who you want to be. If you could be anyone, visualize. Who do you want to be? See it. How do you look? What do you do? What's the surrounding like? What's the smell there? And how does it feel to be there? Are there other people with you? Is it just you? And what if that moment that you visualize right now is now, and the feeling and the intention and the breath is all integrating that moment here. So take another deep inhale, slowly exhaling, tap a few times on your chest just to be sure to be there and to stay home inside your heart. Choose today. Let's go.
Thank you so much. And we're ready to begin. And we are so pleased you're here. And as we say all the time, we have waited for you your entire lives. But today you will understand it because we also had our messenger text to his team something last night that we wanted you to all understand. We said, now, none of you need to suffer. We know that because we know how challenging it's been for you in your life and in your world, what you've been observing, what you've been experiencing. But we're saying you're here for a really great time because today you get to choose who you want to be. You always have that ability, but today is a very powerful, super full moon. That's why we do it on those times when the energies are moving so that you can take advantage of what's happened. But we've laid it all out for you. And that's what we wanted you to understand. You are here to do something great. You are here to accomplish something, and that's why the world looks the way that it does. It's waiting for you to awaken to who you are, which is why we've given you everything that we have given you. We said we gave you an ascension guide because we knew it would be a little challenging for all of you, but we also know that what you have within you is so valuable, and as you start to bring it forth, you're going to see your life change in ways that you can't imagine, and you'll see that reflected in your world. No one is creating your world but you. That's why you're here. You made a decision to be in the planet at this time because you wanted to evolve to a new aspect of who you are. And that's your eternal soul journey. That's all that's going on. And so we thought that it would be a great idea to bring it to you now, especially after you've had your elections in many parts of your world, because this was a great change in your world. That's why there were so many occurring. And we just focused on the one in the United States because we knew that many more would be watching those results. And many of you were so surprised. And we said, no, that was perfect, because now you get to heal. And if you want to understand it all, if you go back and listen to, watch, or read our messages that we gave you on those dates, we've given you everything. And we're going to prove it to you today, because even from today on, if you go back to 2023 and you read the messages on anyadvicefortoday.com and read the messages from today on 2023, you will have guidance as to what's happening in the rest of your life this month. We're just going to go through, let's just go through November. If you just use all of those, you will have a greater sense of what's occurring, because you're here to do something wonderful. You just need a little encouragement, and we've given it to you. And we've said that, but it's challenging for many of you to believe that, including our messenger. So what we had him do recently, and you can find it all because we had him put all these videos out where he showed all the different years that we had gave you messages on a specific date. We wanted you to understand the process of evolution. You see, you do that in your consciousness. You're not going to accept it all at once, but you all have it. You have infinite intelligence, each of you, but you just decide how much you're going to let in at what time and when it's appropriate for your journey, because you have a unique individual path that you're meant to follow and live, and that's what you've been given, and that's why you're here now. Now, we want you to change every perception that you've had about what's occurring, because you think things are falling apart, and we've said that's not occurring. But you just couldn't hear it. You couldn't hear yourself. That's all. You've had guidance, but you doubted, just like our messenger did. This is why he's such a great example for you all, because he can show you what happens when you stop doubting it. Because we sent you a being who's moved through everything. We've said this often. He's moved through everything that humans can experience, and he's come out the other end happy and healed. And it's 74. And we keep saying that because we want you to let go of more of your disbelief of what you can accomplish, because we've given you the ability to accomplish anything, all of you. So there's no reason for anyone in your world, or your world for that matter, to continue to suffer unless you want to hold on to your grievances. And those are things that you thought you did wrong, that you screwed up, and you did all, well, you did all those things. But once you start to recognize it and say, well, I learned something and now I can evolve, that's what happens in your life, and that's what will happen in your world. But you're in a period now where you're resisting that. Many of you, even our messenger, that's why we talk about it so much, because you don't want to go to that unknown place, and this is why you fight with one another. But we gave you another message, and you can find it. We've done all of these, and so we want you to understand there are no accidents. The universe is completely aligned, and this is why we could give you your messages on your birthday, which we did in 2012, and it's aligned with what is occurring for you in your life now. You all just figure that out later. You're beginning to understand more as more people start understanding the quantum field and studying, and our messenger is going to do a lot more of that, because he couldn't figure out how we gave him everything years ago, and it's showing up in your world now. You each have abilities and talents that develop depending on the time that you live on the physical plane. And this is a time for many of you to start unleashing the great goods that you've had that you've been hiding. This is why we gave you the message the other day about denial. You all do it, because if you didn't deny who you were and what you could accomplish, you wouldn't know that you accomplished anything when you did. That's all. But the thing that happens is you get stuck. You stay in one place because you don't want to take the next step into the unknown. That's what's happening in your world. The disagreements that you're seeing all over is because you're seeing so many people who don't want to change what was old. You cannot evolve or ascend to a higher state of consciousness within yourself or in your world unless you're willing to let go of what was old. And we've shown you all of it. And if you go back and listen to any of our messages that we've given you, we've talked about all of this, because you were going to see people in control and power attempting to control you. But we wanted you to understand that no one can do that, because you have all the control. You have all the power and control because it's in your consciousness. Just understand that when you come into physical form, all you have is your consciousness, but it gets formed by all those who came before. And if you're going to start to believe the limitations that were set up by your civilizations, by your societies, then nothing changes. We told you we wanted you to change it, which is why we gave you a new philosophy called your life operating instructions. It's your life. You are the one that's deciding what it's going to become. And we just gave you a guide because you needed a new one because your world had changed and it's changing in a big way now. And the reason we use the United States because it's a 248-year change that you're moving through, and it's a reckoning. Meaning you're going to look at all the stuff that you didn't do, that you didn't get right, that you can correct now. But there's going to be a little bit of a period because you have to move through your doubt and your resistance to who you are, and your world is doing the same thing. We've told you that the world cannot do anything that you are not allowing it to accomplish, and it comes through you. But don't worry, we gave you a message on that as well, because as you read the ones from today on in November, you will see that we gave you all of that information last year. You will be hard pressed to try to figure out how that occurred. We won't, because we want you to let go of your disbelief of what you can accomplish. The only reason your world still remains in the situation that it is currently is because you can't believe certain things. You couldn't believe that this being could have healed his entire life and brought in a philosophy that could cause each of you to do the same thing, and eventually you would have a world that looks quite different. And we've said that many times before as well, but you don't hear it, which is why we keep talking about cognitive dissonance. Because if you understand that, you'll have a much easier time moving through this period, because you will be presented with things about yourself that you had not seen before, and you'll be asked, will you believe who you are now? It's always a process, and it's a continual process, and it's one that is joyous when you decide not to resist it. So now that we've done all of that, we've decided to do something else today, and that is we're going to answer every question that you have about your life. We're saying that because we know we can do it because we've given it to you. And to prove it, we had our messenger have his members just ask questions about something they might have been moving through. And then he found the information in a message that we had given. We're saying this because your disbelief will be the only thing that holds you back from accomplishing what you could in your life and what your world could achieve. Because there are many beings who come in and create works like our messenger has, but you still don't believe it. This is why we said to you, you didn't believe Jesus, Buddha, or Tesla either. Because if you had, you wouldn't be looking at a world that is the way that it is now. But then the great news about that is that's why you are alive. You came to offer something wonderful, and we know it's you. Otherwise, you would not be hearing us. You've never been in an accidental place, and you will see that message. And that's why we told you today nothing happens accidentally. So we're ready to start with your questions now because we're so excited because we can feel the anticipation.
Yes, thank you. And everyone, feel free to start typing your questions in the chat. We have some questions that came in before, 7 questions so far. Question 1: what opportunities, growth, and benefits will 2025 bring into my life? Are there specific areas where I should focus my energy to achieve success and fulfillment? How can I align myself with the positive changes and gifts the new year has in store?
You just did it. You just did it by writing that question, you see, because you know the process. You understand the process and you put it in 2025, which means that you know that it takes a while for you to accept what you're discovering about yourself now. And we can say that because we know that's what's gone on for you recently. Not all of you will come to the same awareness or awakening at the same time, but you did, which is why you wrote that question. And we're glad that you did, because that's exactly what we wanted all of you to understand. And that's what we had given you back in 2012 when we said your future. We wanted you to understand that you are the ones who are creating it in your life and also in your world. So you're going to do what you're going to do is the thing that you have been putting away, the thing that you did not believe you could accomplish. That's why we gave you the message today, because that's what's within you and you're looking at it. And so you're gingerly kind of walking to it and looking at it. So now we want you to take the next step, which is the message we gave you for tomorrow, which you will see that now take the next step and do the thing that you love. And what we're saying is that it's something that you have not been believing that you could do or had the talent, and that you put away. And it could have been something from your childhood even that you're now looking at and deciding, can I do this? And can I do it in 2025? And we're saying yes. Thank you.
Yes. You can choose now. I recognize that being judgmental of myself and others is one of my greatest challenges. Do you have any tips to help me lessen my automatic reaction to being judgmental? How can I make the distinction between being judgmental and using my discernment?
Thank you so much. Well, you already did it. What we're saying here, what we do is we pull stuff out of you that you have this greater awareness. And so you came to understand that judgment is your biggest difficulty, and it's for all of you. This entire period. When we gave you a message, you said judgment will be your only challenge because you're going to look at yourself and others, and you're going to make a judgment about good, bad, right, or wrong, or any of that. And none of you know that. And so you're completely aware of that, and you want to let go of the judgment because you're feeling the judgment that you have about yourself when you're holding it. And we gave you something and said, just turn it to preference. That's all. See, it becomes easier then. You can look at something and say, oh, I see what they're doing. I see what that is. And I don't like that. That's not for me. There's no harm in that. It's just that I have a preference for this. That's all. And now what you have done is you've moved through a blockage that's been within you about giving yourself permission to love and believe in yourself. And you've also put a new energy into the world that ends conflict a little bit more. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you very much. And the next question. Am I Mila Ripper?
Sorry?
That's the question. The question is, am I Mila Ripper? I don't know if I pronounce it right. Mila Ripper is how I would say it in German. It's a name, I think. I'm not too sure.
Okay. First of all, we don't tell you who you are. You know that. And so, if that's a question that you're asking, that means that you've been given some information from your higher self that you're questioning and you're doubting. And so, we want you to do some more investigation. So, you're being led somewhere. So, we don't know what the name is that you were pronouncing, but it means something to you. And this is what we want each of you to start to do: is to investigate the clues that you're given in your path that will lead you to a greater discovery of your purpose. And that's what's going on for you. So we can't tell you what that means, but you can find it. And so we're glad that you brought it up because we're giving you permission to start to do the research in whatever way that you can. You have technology now where you can search for many things and find it, but it is something that's coming through for you that is meaningful at this time in your life. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And question number 4. I've realized that my current job is not where I want to be, even though I've spent nearly 10 years in this career.
Mhm,
I feel drawn to more creative endeavors
mhm,
and have considered starting a business related to this,
mhm,
but I have no experience or expertise in it. I
mhm,
feel confused. Should I
mhm.
leave my current career path to start something new, or do I just need a job change within the same field? I'm unsure of my next steps, but feel like I need to make a move soon. Please help.
Yes, and you're feeling that because you're all being moved to make a move, and this is why we're doing this today. And so that couldn't be more appropriate. And so yes, you're going to do the thing that gives you the most fun. We want more of you to start having joy because you've been suffering so much, which is why we gave you the title that we want you to use. No one need to suffer because you can reverse that. And the only reason that you suffer is that you haven't given yourself permission to own your authentic self. You haven't given yourself permission to do the thing that truly gives you joy. Because many of you are just basing things, and we've given you this too about the money, because the money confuses you a lot because you have to use it in the physical world to survive. However, you were given something of greater value that's not of a material or monetary sense, because that stuff stays in the physical plane, but you brought something else. And so that's what's coming up for you now. And so we want you to make the choice on what you love, because we know it's there. You're questioning it. And the thing that about creating that business with no expertise, our messenger did that. He didn't have any expertise when he created his other business 35 years ago, and he made him $1 million. He said, "Why? How could this happen?" He was just following his gut and his intuition. You can do the same thing. The only thing that happens, you each place limitations on what is possible. There, you do it with not. I don't have the right degree. I don't have the right experience. None of that is true. If you're being called in a particular way, that is, you're feeling that you're meant to do it, and it may be bumpy. It may be difficult. It may be challenging, but it'll probably be a lot of fun when you decide to let go of the resistance and just take the next step. Thank you.
Yes. So, and just for everyone else, like, Wilhelm is not a fortune teller. Yeah, please do not ask those types of questions. So, if you want to have some guidance, that's right. You're perfect where you are. If you want to have your future being told by someone else other than you, it's not the right thing. So, next question. Is it possible that in order to move forward on my path, I need to disconnect from family and certain friends?
Yes, because you said it. No, you don't have to, but for you, you do. Because you that awareness came to you. Now, let's explain. You that may be a temporary separation. You don't have to necessarily do that forever. But what will happen is you each come into the physical plane, you have a soul journey. You use your family to for kind of a foundation. That's what's there. And many times you might find that you stay very close to that family, and you do everything with them throughout this particular life. But other times you change and you move into a different area of your evolution. And this is where we said you will start to meet your soul family. That's very different. They're not related to you or connected to you by blood, but they are in spirit, in form. And that's what you're feeling. And that's why you're feeling a little bit of guilt. And we love that, because that means you're this compassionate, empathetic person, and you don't want to hurt the feelings of the others, but you don't have to. You just have to come to greater understanding for yourself and for them, and just make changes in a way that makes you feel comfortable. Because again, we still feel that you're feeling bad about yourself because you're making those choices, but you were meant to, because you're moving to another place in your evolutionary path, and that's going to give you much more comfort and love and joy for yourself, and that's what we want you to have. Thank you.
Yes, joy, such an important thing. Dear Wilhelm, I can't seem to reconcile my normal human life with my spiritual self,
Mhm,
which I connect with in my spare time.
mhm.
I feel like I consist of two separate parts. Do you have any advice?
Yes, we gave you a message. We said there are always two of you here. You see, that's always what's going on, and we can break that down in many different ways. However, you're always moving in this. When you think about your ascension, you're moving into the greater understanding of your spiritual self. And so during that process, you go through different phases, and you will feel like you're in different worlds, basically. And so you're kind of coming into a place of integration. Now, there are many who will break it down into different dimensions, the third, fourth, and fifth, and all of that. And the fourth is where you're trying to integrate all of that. We just want you to feel what's right, correct for you. But just to understand that you will move through those particular periods where you feel so disconnected. And we said that's a great thing if you can trust it and not become afraid. There was one message we gave you, we won't find this, but we said, please lose your mind. And so that was the mind that you've been holding on to. Then we gave you another, said how to break up with yourself. See, all of those are the same thing, to say that you must be willing to let go of what was old, even as soon as yesterday, because now you're a new person today, and you're making those choices. And many of you can make greater choices today just due to the energy that's moving through your planet. Thank you.
Yes, 11 questions total now. Yeah, you can Still type in your questions if you have further ones. We still have enough time to do so. We're now at question 7. Dear Wilhelm, can we change consciousness, or is consciousness always correct? What influence do we have on consciousness?
Did we plant you? Did we ask you to come here and ask that question? We did, because that's exactly what we want you to understand. You're here to change consciousness, all of you. It doesn't stay the same. It's never been the same. You look back at your world, hundreds of years ago, the consciousness was very different then because you hadn't developed it. And so you have new beings who come about who develop more, which is why we have used all the ones that we have told our messenger that were included in our work, which is why we keep mentioning people like an Einstein or Tesla or Carl Jung or all of those who come before, because you just take more consciousness of understanding and then you put your stamp on it, so to speak, and you develop something more. So yes, you are changing consciousness, and you ask that question because you are aware of that. And so it's a wonderful thing. We want you to keep discovering that, so because you're going to help explain that to many, many others too, because that is what you're all doing right now, which is also why it's been so challenging, because many of you don't want to do that, you see. But thank you for that question, because that's going to help so many.
Thank you. Question 8. What do I need to do to move through the financial restrictions I'm currently experiencing?
Oh, that's always the same for all of you. You just have to start to love yourself a little bit more. Okay, let's talk about this. We're saying that everything is energy. Everything you're planning, everything you in your body is energy, and you're directing that. Now, that energy has been formed in different ways over time within your evolutionary path and that of your world in terms of what you think is possible. You all come in with generational beliefs that hold you back. And so, what you've got to do is look at those and decide that you're going to move beyond them. And so, that's what all of you are doing currently, is moving beyond what we've given you, the generational belief that you've had, because this is a dynamic time. When you're in physical form, you're doing this all the time, but there are particular times in your planet where it's more intense, and that's because of the configurations of the universe and the galaxies and planets and all of that. Everything is energy, and this is one of those times that you chose to be around. And so raising consciousness is the thing that you wanted to do. You're all doing that, just in your own way. Thank you.
Yes. I've recently noticed that entrepreneurship is becoming a growing passion for me, and my skills in this area are starting to emerge more clearly. Has this potential always been within me? And if so,
We,
why is it coming to the forefront now?
we missed the first part. What the skill?
Mhm.
What?
I've recently noticed that entrepreneurship is becoming a
Oh,
growing passion for me.
oh, yes. Okay, that's wonderful. Yes, perfect. You because you're doing exactly what we wanted you to do, and that is owning yourself, taking that next step into ownership of who you are. Now, being an entrepreneur is not an easy thing. Most of you know that, because when you have a regular kind of position that many of you think you need to be stifled with, for a long time, you don't have the freedom. So then you got to go out and do this brave thing of being an entrepreneur and learn things and all of that. That is the most courageous thing, and you've finally decided to do it because it was the right time on your evolutionary path. Everyone won't do that, but for you, you brought it up because it's time for you, and you're just having a little bit of doubt and insecurity, but that's okay. You're going to all have that. But now you're going to take the next step, because we're knowing that's where you're supposed to go, and it's going to be the best thing for you. And there is the thing that happens when you become an entrepreneur, you're always worried about the money. And that is, again, the energy that we want you to think about. Because when you go into loving and accepting yourself, the energy of that money or anything that could come to you will be available. And so, but the fear is what always stops you at first. But you're one who is going to demonstrate something different. Again, this is not about judgment. All of you are not here to do that particular path, but you are, and you're going to demonstrate something. You're going to demonstrate something so wonderful to so many others. So thank you for your service. Thank you.
Yes. Our question 10, it's a bigger one. So the question is, or the text is, I believe I might have a deep belief that it's okay if I don't succeed or can't succeed. Yesterday morning, while feeling fear and anger, I suddenly realized that I'm not just walking a path, but creating a new one.
Hmm.
I remember seeing something similar in a few reading charts.
Hmm.
The messages I received said that no matter how others belittle me, the light and love within me
Hmm.
grow stronger and stronger. I was told to transform the negative energy
Hmm.
received into neutral energy,
Hmm.
creating a world of dreams, love, and harmony. With this awareness I've had, is there anything in it that came from ego or from a place that's not pure love? Right now, I feel it came from pure love. If that's true, can you help explain why and what this change in my feeling means?
Thank you. You're bringing us to tears. That's what we wanted you to all understand. You're moving through this period where you think that it's about the money. You think it's about the things that you possess. And then you allow others who have those things to control you because you can't raise your consciousness. And you come to a place where you understand that that's not that important. And then you don't and then you doubt yourself because of that, because society has told you that you had to have all the other things before you could become the soul that you meant to be. And you've come to such great understanding, and we're thrilled. And so, yes, that is all correct. And it wasn't from your ego, because you couldn't have done that. And you're seeing so many in your world now who are completely operating from the ego that we said is just about filling up something, a deficiency, and they will do that with money. And you said, well, wait a minute, it's more than that. And that's what we love, because your soul is that valuable. And so there's nothing on the physical plane that could cause you to be any less. And you came to that awareness. But in consciousness, in the universal consciousness that you're all attempting to shift now, you want more of you to come to that awareness. And then you'll start taking care of yourself a lot better, and also your planet. Thank you so much for that and for what you're doing. And you're going to help so many others. And you've just moved yourself into a new level of your evolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 11. I think we have 13 now. I am still in disarray from the results of the election. It doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much support for Kamala, and
Mm-hmm.
support for Trump seemed
Mm-hmm.
to have waned. The numbers of votes just don't add up in my mind, and it's disheartening to think that our country might never evolve if progress
Mm-hmm.
can be so easily overwhelmed by such shocking numbers from those who vote against it. What does this mean? Will we ever evolve?
Now you've awakened to your purpose. Now you've understood why we've done all of this. Is to get you to see that. Is to get you to say, wait a minute, I know it's supposed to be different. I know I have a higher purpose. I know that we can do something different, and it's within you. And that's why it was so distressing for you all. And this is why we gave you a message on that day. We said more of you in the United States will see your light today. That's what we said, because now you had a shock. Because most of you don't move and do anything more until you become afraid, until you think things are going to fall apart. And we said we've given you all of this so you wouldn't have to make those same choices. This is why we gave you Barbenheimer last year. See, because we wanted you to understand that moving beyond the racial divisions would be a much better way to look at yourself and your world and your planet, you see, and to move beyond the misogyny. That's what we said. But you couldn't do that. We had our messenger go through it in his life so he could see that it's not going to serve the development of him. And you have come to that. That's why you're upset, because that's your life mission now. And you're going to go about bringing greater awareness to others, saying, we're supposed to be different. And I know this because it's within my soul. And my life this time is going to allow me to bring that forth. Thank you so much for that.
Yes. So, 13 questions. This is the second last, if no further one comes, but I will ask you after those two questions
Mhm.
to give us some answers too. So I've been experiencing physical detox symptoms, including boils on my thighs and breasts, and I'm wondering what I need to do to alleviate this
Mhm.
issue. What does this purge represent spiritually in these areas?
It would be something so unique for you, and we want you to ask what it is because it will come to you. Now, as we've given you with all of your physical ailments and conditions and all of that, we would love for you to investigate them because they're communicating something. There will be times where you'll have patterns within you that will cause certain diseases and illnesses to come up, but they're evolutionary things, and so you're not going to necessarily cure those in the physical level, but you're always curing something in the spiritual level, and that's what is would be going on. And so many of you are moving through those periods in your life right now because you wanted to. You wanted to get to this next understanding of how you can create consciousness or use your consciousness to move to a higher level of who you are. And this is what's coming up for so many of you now. We're going to tile this together because we want to have this make sense for the previous question. Everything is energy. Okay, you each will use it in different ways. Energy has qualities, and those qualities will have an effect on you and on your body and on your health and also on your planet. There are the energy of judgment and hatred and anger, and all of those are lower vibrational energies, and they're going to cause you to feel terrible about yourself, and then you're going to put that kind of energy into the world. That's all that it is. So you get to choose. And when you're choosing, you're going to be choosing every single day because as you move through this particular shift, which we said is generational, all the old stuff is going to come up that you're not aware of. It's from your ancestors, it's from all those who came before. So you get to decide in this time, in this lifetime, am I going to move beyond that to a higher understanding of who I am? It doesn't have anything to do with anyone who's around you. It is just about you. And so that is what is occurring in all these instances within your life and within your world, which is why we gave you a new way of moving ahead in your life and a new way of creating the world that more of you would love and want to exist in. That's what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. So, two more questions. I seem to keep myself healthy and avoid much drama, but there are a lot of problems around me, and I feel like others rely on me to take care of their issues.
Mhm.
Why is that?
Because you've developed a great understanding, and so that's why they are attracted to you. It's not accidental, but now you have to learn how to give them the information because you can't take care of them. You can't change them. That's the other message that we gave you. We gave you a message. You'll see it on the site, and we said you never wanted to change them. That's the message you'll receive tomorrow because we planned it all out. You wanted to change you. You see, so. But what you have done is that you've developed a great way of being that you can demonstrate to them. You don't have to do it. You can just show them your example and talk about it when they're open to it. That's what you have developed. And so that's why they're coming to you, however, because they can sense that within you. And then you're going to have to build what we call a little protection around you because they're going to come to you quite a bit once you accept what you have and this vision and this awareness that has grown within you to come around now. That's what's happening. And so, what you want to do, because we have to really, and we're saying this because this is our messenger's thing, because he would sit and talk to all of you all day long because he knows the answers and that he can't do that. And that's a pattern that he's gone through in his life and he has to change it, which we asked him to do tomorrow, please. And so, you have the same thing, which is why you came to the awareness that, wait a minute, if all these people are coming, that's fine because they want to get your energy. They want to find what you have because they can see it. You will just decide how you're going to give it out because you're going to love yourself and now you're going to appreciate what you have developed and come to understand in your life. And you're going to use it in a way that's going to help so many others. And we thank you for your work.
Yes, so we have 15 questions in total right now, and this is question 14. I feel something emerging within me to do more, and to do more, and I'm filled with excitement, even though there is a lot of uncertainty. I will gain more clarity along the way, or no, will I gain more clarity along the way? Or can I start patient? Or can I stay patient?
You're okay. We're going to just blow you away right now. You ready? Okay, so we want you to go to our anyadvicefortoday.com and look at the message for tomorrow and from 2023. And we said you could always do more. That's the message. It's all in alignment. Everything. This is what we wanted you to understand. And you're feeling that because you know that you can, and that's okay. And we want you to be patient because you've probably had a blockage to it, which you all do, to that you could do it or if you should or any of that doesn't matter. But now it's awakened. And that's the awakening that you're all looking for when you can see the thing that you wanted to accomplish, that you wanted to bring to the world. And that's what you're doing currently. And so we're thrilled with that. And so you said this right thing too. You said patience. Not many of you come to understand that, even though we've talked about it so much. Because what happens is you're using your energies in a way to create something new, but you will become impatient with yourself because you think that it should happen instantly. That never occurs. You can't. Your physical brain doesn't work that way. You know the qualities, the configurations of how your body's working. Now, we said you could have instantaneous healing if you get to that level of understanding, but most of you are not there. And so when you said patience, you have the awareness that it will take time for you to develop these new skills, and that's a great thing. And when you become patient with yourself, you're much more effective with creating because you're not putting anxiety into whatever you're bringing forth. And so you're just a brilliant person, and we thank you for that.
Yes. So we have 16. Now this is question 15.
Yeah.
I recently had a meeting with the CEO of the entrepreneurship project I'm leading for my institution. The CEO mentioned plans to appoint a CEO for the Côte d'Ivoire project. This is a French.
Mhm.
And eventually for the entire continent of Africa. I
Mhm.
realized I would love to step into that role and wonder if this is the reason I have stayed in Côte
Yes,
d'Ivoire, despite my deep desire to leave.
we gave you that message as well, and it's probably on the site today because we said you'll be at a place where you won't believe you can do something. All of you. You'll look at the thing in front of you, you think you won't believe it. That's part of your life journey. And it's going to show up for each of you in your individual way. And so, yes, and nothing's accidental, as we said. And so, if you were there because of that, then yeah, it's starting for you to do it. But the first thing that you all have to do is start changing your consciousness. Because, see, the consciousness has to be accepting of this bigger vision because when you realize that if you've lived most of your life in this place of feeling insignificant or that you didn't have this ability, which many of you do in different ways, it's always developing. So now you say, okay, but now the next opportunity is here. We're saying this for each of you individually, but also your world. You see, because that's where you're all standing now, because you all came to create something that's going to create this much better new world, as we've called it. And you've been given something individually, but it always feels too big. It always feels like you can't do it. And that's purposeful because, as we said earlier, if you didn't have the doubts and the fears, you wouldn't know you accomplished anything. And sometimes it may take you a long time, as it did our messenger, but it doesn't matter because you can see now that he said, okay, now I get what this is about. Now I can do it. You all will come to that place. And this is why we've given you a guide to be able to do it. Thank you.
Hey, you keep telling us to love ourselves.
Mhm.
How do we move beyond the theory of self-love into the full awareness of unconditional love and that allows us to ascend, evolve, and elevate our energies? Have we missed the opportunity and that the 1111 portal offered, or is it still available to us?
They're always available. You just decide when you're going to get there. The thing that happens for many of you, you think in terms of linear time. We understand because you have to operate in that way in the physical plane. However, everything is happening in this moment of now. And so, what you're always doing is moving to a higher understanding of who you are within your evolutionary journey, within your evolutionary path. And it coincides with what's occurring in your world because it's all connected again with energy. So, you're at a place where you're understanding the progression of what goes on, which is a wonderful thing. And the more of you who can understand that, then you start to progress in your own life, and then your world does the same thing. And so that is what is occurring now. You're moving into a higher state of understanding of yourself, and that is what you each will then demonstrate in your own way and give it to others. And so there's nothing that was missed. You are doing it now because all of the things, and this is why we kept talking about and we'll give you something else. We're going to give you a couple of dates because this will help you. If you look at our message on November 19th of last year, that's what we wanted you to understand this year, because you're going to have another opportunity to move into a portal of greater portal of opportunity for years, 20 years actually, after the 19th. And so we gave you a message on that day so that you would understand or accept the process. You've never done anything like this. This is a big shift. None of you have moved through. Your planet hasn't done that, which is why you're all here now. So you're doing something that is going to start to unfold, and you'll see it, and you'll start to believe it, and you'll start to move with it. We're saying this because the other question we wanted you to understand, that is the process that you each move through. You uncover it, you start to look at it, you accept it, you integrate it into who you are, and then it starts to manifest. There is a science to it all. Thank you.
Yes. And it's all about the pattern that you experience. What I can say to this is just analyze what is recurring in your life and start making shifts so things do not happen again that you do not want to happen. So, we have 18 now. This is the 17th. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I would prefer to be wrong about this. But it seems that throughout history, many men in power and some women, though mostly men, have been wounded in some way, leading them to wield their power in harmful or destructive ways.
Mhm.
This still seems to be happening today, can, but now the entire world can see it. How can we use this global awareness to help finally break the cycle of history and begin electing leaders who are truly healed? Big one, thank you.
You just did it. You just came to the greater awareness of what you're all moving through and what we wanted you to understand. Because yes, you've had all those things in your history and you all are part of it. Now we're going to take you back a little bit so you can understand why we have talked about things in the way that we have. And we first of all, we just want to thank you so much for that awareness, what you brought, because it's going to blossom into something for you that's going to help so many. Because we've been attempting to explain it, but that you did a really beautiful job of it. So if you imagine that you're this eternal spiritual being, has nothing to do with what you look like now, nothing to do with the race that you are or the gender or any of that. You're a soul and you've always existed. But throughout civilization, throughout all of existence, you decided you're going to take this role now. You're going to come in and be this lifetime. We've given you one of those. We just had our messenger release that video from a couple of years ago, just recently, so you could hear it again. Because then you'll decide, I'm here now, and let me see what I can accomplish. You're all doing this, by the way, and you're doing it in your way, whatever is right on your evolutionary path. And so then, as you decide that you're going to let go of something that was limited, guess what you're doing? You're letting go it from the past, from your ancestors, from that lineage that you have carried that may not have served what you want to do now. That's what we gave you. See, because when you understand you have those things, then they become valuable when you can find the wisdom and knowledge that you've gained from them and let go of the old stuff that did not serve you or civilization or humankind, you see. And there were certain behaviors and beliefs that you've each carried, all of you, that did not serve you. And that's what you're here you're moving beyond them now, and so you just have to become willing. We've just given you a way to do that and to understand it, and we've broken it all down in terms scientific terms, because more of you will start to put together. If we told our messenger he was to marry science, spirituality, and human potential, and it's been demonstrated, so you can see that that's what you each do whatever lifetime you live, and that's how things evolve. But this one, you're meant to uncover exactly what that question said within you, and then you heal. This is why we said yesterday, If you love them, you will heal, because everything you're saying that's triggering something within you is bringing up an unhealed part of you from your ancestors, from your lineage, wherever it might have been, and then you can decide to let go of it. And you know you let go of it when you feel good, when you start to smile a bit more, when you let go of your grief, when you let go of your anger. Because none of those things are the ones that you should have. And we gave you a message the other day about your emotions. And if you look at that one, you'll see that it was something that was coming up for all of you to transmute them into something much higher that you could have and live in your life. And that is why you're here. So thank you for that awareness. And we want that's the awareness we wanted all of you to have. And so now when you look at your world, especially in the United States, but it's every single country, you will see those divisions continually occurring, and they're occurring so you can look at them, so you can heal the divisions that have existed within you, because the only thing that is important for you at this time is to live this great life, and you can do that. Thank you.
You. So we have one more, and then I'm going to have you talk about something too. So the last question from the participants, the last one is now, should we care about or pay attention to the different aliens that have been revealing themselves lately? Or should we focus more on the Earth and our own journeys?
Mhm.
How do these aliens impact us and our expansion?
Okay, we want you to, if you're feeling them at this time, if you're having these experiences, that's part of your path, and also you're accepting that, and so we're pleased with that. There are many, we've talked about this so often, because many of you will start to hear more about beings, things you're seeing, UFOs, whatever it might be, because you're not the only ones who have existed in the galaxies, but you have the fear of seeing other things, but you've been exposed to something that is saying you have a greater awareness and understanding, so you can bring that into the world as you start to accept it a lot more. The thing that happens for all of you, and we're going to say this because you couldn't believe us, we put out something like that. Our messenger didn't believe us either. That's why we had to put all these things out in the last couple of weeks to show him all the organization of your universe, because you're all aligned and you have a plan, a divine plan, which we also said you each do. You just figure it out at different times, which is what you're all doing now. And so this particular time is allowing more of you to come to that greater awareness of where you're going, what you want to create, which is why we said today, we want you to think about that. And then tomorrow, start doing it. You see, think about, choose the life you want, because you deserve that now in whatever way it shows up for you. And that it will be the right way for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Talking about the right way, I'm right now developing and remembering abilities that I have from previous lives and incarnations. And it has to do with healing and how the physical body heals, how we can basically restructure our physical self, but also our entire energy field. And what I find fascinating is that the work that Roger is doing and that you helped him to develop is mainly based so much mindset,
Mhm.
and through the mindset, Roger made those shifts in healing. Can you talk a little bit about the connection between mind and body and how certain information helps us heal over time, but also how spontaneous healing can occur if we are in tune with that energy of healing, with that result that we want to achieve, from our heart's desire or soul's purpose.
You've given us so much, and so thank you so much for that, because you have this greater awareness, which is what we wanted to demonstrate, which is why when Roger saw Yarn, he said he's got to have him there, because he demonstrates an awareness of consciousness that not many would have at that age. So we want all of you to start letting go of your chronological age. It has nothing to do with your evolutionary journey, because that's what you're all on now. And so what happens is we took Roger back to, and we want to say this, he was resistant, and which is why we keep talking about it, because you all are. and we took him back to the Hermetic principles because we said we've based our work on something that's different before you all started making these judgments about yourselves and others. And so we wanted you to go back to the beginning of time where you understood where more of you mattered, where you were equal. You've forgotten that because over time, what you do is you take you start forming different groups and identities and all of that and then you start to seek power, and you think if you're going to have power, you can put other people down, make certain people. That's what you do instead of understanding that you're all one. Everything we have given you is leading you to ultimate reality, which is what we've called it, because that's ultimate reality is when you recognize that every soul has purpose and value. That's all. But as you move through civilizations, you don't get there right away. But you're at a great time now because this has been planned by the universe where more of you can start to love yourselves and choose the life you want to have. And that's what's going to create this great world. And we know you can do it. We've seen it. We've seen it before. And we want to say something else because it was so wonderful that you have these memories. Roger did not have that. We had to send him places for he could receive it. We want to because we never want any of you to judge yourselves because you didn't understand or you couldn't accept what was coming through. And we had him put up his Akashic records reading because he doubted that we had given him this information, you see. And so we had to send him somewhere to get proof. That is on his YouTube channel. Any of you can listen to it, and you'll see the moment where he broke down when he had the recognition that yes, he had been given something that was meant to awaken the minds of individuals now. Because as you understand, as Yarna lovingly said, why the mind? Because that's all you have. That is the most valuable thing. And when we first began, we had Roger saying to you, we have the most valuable thing any of you could use, and that's control of your consciousness. Everything is mind. And when you have that, you can do anything, but you have to move through the generational limitations that have been instilled within all of you that you could not create the lives you want to have or the world you wanted to see. We have given you the tools now to be able to do that in this incarnation. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, sir. So we are finished for today. Is there anything else that you would like to get off your chest?
Yes, we want to say to each of you, each of you are here to do something wonderful, important, meaningful, significant. We don't care what you thought before. You were wrong. That's the only time we're going to say, this is the only time we will tell you you were wrong because you came to do something that was meaningful, that will sustain you, that will cause your life to expand and evolve in wonderful ways and give something sustainable to your planet. We want you to understand you don't live in physical form forever. You come into an incarnation to do something, to leave something, and leave a legacy. And we wanted you to leave a legacy that you would be proud of. And that would be when you own yourself and become your authentic self. And that's all we ever wanted because we love you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, sir. And for those of you who are interested in just going a little deeper with us, what we're offering is live classes, you know, transformational programs and meditations, and really a space for community. And if you want to be part of that community, if you're not already, we are really expanding right now in the services that we offer, even teaching healing, teaching breath work from my side, and really moving forward with even more grace than before. And we'd love to have you there. Roger is doing live channelings as well. You can apply for that one too. We are just building so much, and it's time for us to go into that intimate relationship with ourselves whilst learning to be in relationship with others and ourselves. So if you want to be part of that amazing journey with us, and you want to achieve permanent success in whatever area, stay tuned, reach out to us if you have any questions, sign up for the program, whatever calls you, right? We have so many free resources too that you can check out. But like really, if you want to go deeper, go on rogerburnley.com, check out his courses. We are building and improving in that. Right now, we're already in the building of new stuff, new material, and it's almost done and ready to go for you. So we're excited to have you there. We really, I personally, I'm so enthusiastic in healing, analyzing my own physical mind, body, and self my entire life, and learning how to put myself back together. in my fullest expression, right? My soul, purity that we all have, that we all long for to experience is that love, that connection, that unity. So if that call to you, just stay with us. Reach out if you have any needs, any wants, and we're here all together. Peace and love.